Welcome to Heard It Here First, your Central Texas showcase of premier talent. I'm your host, Gerald Garza. Today we'll be taking you to Rockdale, Texas, as the Tigers are in what some are calling a rebuilding year. Rockdale has just came off of a 3-8 season off of Coach Hamrick in his first season. Though it was a losing record, the Rockdale Tigers did make the playoffs and lost to Columbus in the first round. Columbus has been a powerhouse, a tough opponent in the 3A division for some years to come now. I want to say I believe the last time we made the playoffs, we lost to Columbus in the first round in Bastrop, and that was a little over 2 years ago now. Coach Hamrick, I feel, will have his hands kind of opened up on the offensive side. They lost a key quarterback, a 3-year starter in Bladen Barczyk, but losing, and they had a really great senior class, but losing a lot of talent and in a rebuilding year, I feel like Coach Hamrick will see his creativity offensively and what he's going to bring to the Rockdale Tigers. The Tigers still in their rebuilding year have a lot of upperclassmen that bring a lot of talent to this Rockdale roster. You're looking at Zacoby Anderson, AJ Sandoval, Raiden Hamilton, and DeAndre Stevens. Those four names are going to be some names you'll be hearing all on Friday nights for these Rockdale Tigers. Raiden Hamilton, I'm watching his highlights. The young man runs with the lean. He hardly accepts the first tackler. He's got really good footwork as well. And Raiden is a very coachable young man. He's a really good aspect and a really good leader for these Rockdale Tigers. I was watching AJ Sandoval, and AJ Sandoval's burst off the line. He's got really great hands for a defensive lineman, too. You can see him definitely shedding off the blocks and using his hands effectively against those offensive linemen. And Zacoby Anderson, that is a big body that's going to be moving some people around offensively and defensively. But what I think the glue to this Rockdale Tiger team will be this year is junior wide receiver DeAndre Stevens. DeAndre Stevens going into his third year on varsity, two as an underclassman. Now he is the man that's stepping up to the plate as the wide receiver and as the leader. I was lucky enough to have an interview with DeAndre Stevens and get to talk to him. And I mentioned in the interview that a man like himself it's kind of hard to find, and what I meant by that is that the mentality of this 17-year-old young man who's going into his junior year or 16, 17, I apologize. Either way it goes, as a young man, his mentality and his leadership and his thought process and how he reaches out to others, his care for his teammates, his care for the people around him, and the way that DeAndre's is much more than football. He is a young man who doesn't just strive for excellence, but helps others perform to their best as well. And DeAndre Stevens is one of those talents that I talk about that is a premier talent in this Central Texas league, in the Central Texas area. So without further ado, we are going to leave you with, or we're going to give you the interview with DeAndre Stevens, your star wide receiver for the Rockdale Tigers. With you and how you continue to stay playing top notch, and just explain us to how you do it, man. How do you do it?
Well, to start it off, my off season, it starts off pretty slow because I like to live out my childhood as long as I can.
Absolutely.
And but when it's time to get started, I know when it's time to get started. The main thing that I focus on first is making sure all my teammates are in the right headspace because I can't do this alone. So I gotta make sure they're right first before I figure out what I'm gonna do myself. And then anything our coaches put us through, I try to be the best, finish first, do a little extra on the side. Cause really, to be a star, you're not gonna be a star just doing what they giving you. You got to do a little extra on the side. So I would just say, really, just doing my best and going hard, treating every day like it's a game, and we finna go for a state title.
Dude, right. Man, I even got chills. My dude, that right there is why that type of mentality you don't find in young men like yourself. That's what separates that. That's where it's at, Dre, man. How do you continue to spread that? How do you spread that with them? What do you do there? How do you continue to keep that positivity and that outlook of we're a band of brothers and this is how we roll here?
Well, to start it off, I know there's like a few people that do sports, because maybe their parents make them do them, or maybe they're in it just to get them away from whatever. But I try to make them see a different picture in it, and I try to show them that it's bigger than just football. There's people that will ride for you, people that will be there when you need them most. Like last year, my brother had passed away, and a few days before my game, our scrimmage against Lexington, and I didn't think I was really going to do that good in the game, but my teammates made sure that I knew that they were there for me and they knew what I was there to play for. So it was really just like I just know where to go if I need help. And also I would see like any problems they have if I most likely been through them, knowing because I started off as a freshman. No one really believed in me because they're like, oh, he's a freshman, he shouldn't be here.
Right.
But I showed them why I should be there playing with them, and then that's how you gain respect. But me, I give them respect from the start, so they don't have to try to gain it. Because some people fail trying to gain respect, and then they feel discouraged and they don't want to do anything else, doubting themselves. And that's one thing I hate is when my teammates doubt themselves because they fail once. In order to get to success, you have to fail.
Absolutely.
You just won't jump to the top.
Absolutely. You learn more in those times of failure than you will ever. You can have success all this time, and then that time when you fall down and you get, how do you get back up? How do you answer the call, man? And I mean, Dre, I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I might need to call you sometime. Be like, hey, homie, like, help me. Let me, like, you are the person. You're where you're at because this is the plan for you, man. And you're the perfect and ideal person for for a teammate, just everything, man. Tell us. We're gonna step away a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about Coach Hammer and what he's brought to Rockdale. In his first year, he got you onto the playoffs. Tell us a little bit about him.
I would say when he first got here, I knew from the jump that that's what we needed. I wish from the start when he first got here that he didn't really baby us and that he showed us what he was going to bring to the table from the jump. And he did that throughout the year. He showed us what we were going to be doing, and I'm glad he did that because we really needed something to build all of our character and especially to get us ready for this year because it's going to be our toughest year, I would say. We lost a pretty good amount of people and we're going to be a pretty young team. But I feel like everyone we have would step up
Yeah.
to the plate. And Coach Hemrick, I really appreciate him because he also shows us that he's there for us on a whole nother level than just football, and he don't really care about wins and losses. That he's actually there for us. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate him coming back to us and being our AD.
Absolutely, man. You talked about the district. You said you're in a tough district and you're in a kind of what you would say, or what some have said, is a rebuilding year. I kind of don't see y'all rebuilding. I've known a lot of y'all since, y'all were younger, and the talent's been there. You still have yourself. I've noticed Eric Shepard is a dang good wide
Eric
receiver.
Shepard, he had moved, so we
He
don't
did
have
move.
him. Yeah, we don't have him.
You still have Raiden Hamilton.
Yes, sir.
Raiden Hamilton, Wilmer Soto,
Wilmer
or
Soto,
Sorto.
he's not playing anymore. We try to like keep him in the game,
Yeah.
but he followed his dream to play soccer, so he got invited to this club that's year round. So that's where his focus is going to be.
So enlighten us. Tell us who's those guys. Who's stepping in this role? Who's with Dre coming into this upcoming season offensively?
Offensively, we have Raiden Hamilton, our new QB Grayson Williams. Then we would have Rashad Wilson. He will be a sophomore this year. And then we would have Brody Williams. He'll be great to have on offense if we could get him out of that little fighting stage he has.
Yeah.
He likes to throw in a little punches here and there. But if we get him out of that, he'll be fine. And we also got Reagan Jackson.
Okay.
He'll be really good. A good tight end. We needed a good tight end.
Tell me a little bit about Rashad Bubba, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about Rashad.
Rashad, he really reminds me a lot of myself. He also was on varsity last year, his freshman year.
Yeah.
So that's what really made me want to go out and show people that I'm here for them because I know how I felt my freshman year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a little discouraged at first, but then he showed us what he can do and showed other people why he's here playing with us. and I feel like he's another person that can actually help us out this year.
Let's go back to you one more time. Give us a little idea of your favorite play from this past year, and walk us through the vision of Dre, what he was doing, what happened in this play.
Okay, my number one, I would have to say, is from Battle of the Bell. From the start of the game, not even the start of the game, I'm taking you out to the locker room. The locker room, usually we're turned up before a game, but this time it was different. I never felt this before. It was like everyone knew what the assignment was. We wanted that bell back here, and we were just like, um,
Is it done? Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, you're good. And then we wanted us to just to go out and win it. Everyone in the locker rooms going over the game plan. I ain't never seen us go over the game plan before a game. We usually just go out knowing the game plan, but we don't talk about it.
Right.
When we're talking about the game plan, we go out turned up, saying our usual. We get in that tunnel, get our chance going. Everybody just let it all out on the line. First play, not even a play, is kickoff. I'm on the edge. I see the ball get kicked. I'm running down. Someone comes and tries to hit me. I barely, like, just barely move. He hits my face mask, goes over. I turn. The They try to do a little switcheroo,
Yeah.
but they messed it up, fumbled it. My friend Kadeem, he went, dove on the ball, and I started cheering because I was happy.
Yeah.
But then next you know, the ball just pops out, and I'm just like, oh, what do I do? Do I dive on it? Do I try to scoop it? And I went for the scoop, and we ended up scoring. And from that play, I knew the game was over. We were electric from there.
So, ironically, I was talking to Jay Davis prior to you coming here and talking to him about Rockdale football. His favorite play was when Dre Stevens recovered the kick against Cameron and took it in and changed the momentum of that game. And so, ironically, y'all are lucky enough to get to hear it from the commentator and the player. So, it's game night, Friday night, week 1. You're about to take the field. You got that little second to yourself. What are you listening to on your headphones? What are you turning up to?
What I am listening to is First Day Out by T Grizzly. That is always my go-to song. I don't know what it is, but it just feels so electric and it gets me pumping. But usually sometimes if I'm not listening to music, I'm talking to another teammate and making sure that they're good cuz you usually always got that teammate that doesn't think they're going to go out and perform to their best.
Yeah,
But you got to let them know it's okay cuz you'll have your days, your games. It's all right. And
absolutely.
you one day you never know, it'll be your day and it just comes out of nowhere.
Well, I'm Gerald Garza. We heard it here first. You heard it here first with DeAndre Stevens, star wide receiver for the Rockdale Tigers. Like I said, listen to the episode 5. We will have predictions on this 3A Region 3 District 11 district and a few other districts around the Central Texas area. Thank you, guys. Welcome back to Heard It Here First. I'm your host, Gerald Garza, and I had such a great time interviewing DeAndre Stevens. Like I said, you don't see a lot of young men like himself at that age with that type of mentality, that thought process, and that's going to take DeAndre Stevens a long way, and not just his athletic career, but just in life. Period. DeAndre Stevens, I'm a huge fan and can't wait to see him on Friday nights. He talks about some of this youth that's coming in here to Rockdale, and one of them will be Rashad Wilson, who was a freshman on the varsity squad, another freshman in Rockdale. He'll be a sophomore, and Rockdale, as they're putting these freshmen and these upperclassmen on the squad as they're building, and with Shade Wilson, who had a big pick in one of the games his father was telling me about. This is a growing year, but they have some outrageous talent in the younger class, as well as Grayson Williams, who's going to be the sophomore quarterback this upcoming year. Next up, we're going to catch up with Jay Davis, the voice of the Rockdale Tigers, 98.5's Jay Davis. And Jay is going to walk us through, tell us a little bit about Coach Hamrick, tell us about some of his times here and what Rockdale football means to him, and then give you his favorite play of this past year. This video was edited because we went a little long on this, so Jay's video will be posted. His full interview will be posted on our page right below. So check out this interview right here. Yeah. We'll jump right into it. Let's talk Rockdale football this upcoming year. Hunter Hamrick is in his second season. In his first season, we made the playoffs. What kind of aura does he bring to this Rockdale football team that makes them playoff contenders?
Well, I think a couple of things stand out when it comes to Coach Hamrick is, just football wisdom. One is a combination of things: football wisdom and football genealogy.
Yeah.
Because he's a lifelong football guy. He played Mary Hardin Baylor, and just he's kind of a student of the game. And of course, his dad was Coach Jerry Slugger Hamrick, who's legendary at Bremont for so many years, had so much success, and his grandfather was a long-time coach. And so, there's kind of a family football genealogy there, but also, with talking about like an aura, kind of the leadership that he brings to the Tiger football program, is that there's just kind of a sense. The thing that comes to mind is like common sense, just being wise about, taking the kids through their paces and teaching them the schemes and such, and then knowing when to just ease off a little bit and let the kids kind of be kids and let them have some rest. That's we were just talking about that with Coach Hamrick as far as the summer goes and off season. He said it's kind of important to just there's so much placed on the kids from the start of school until the end, and then there's summer work and all that kind of stuff, which is important.
Right.
But it's also important to just ease up a little bit and let them be kids, and they can get their own individual workouts in. And so, just knowing that, just having that kind of common sense, I think really goes a long way for Coach Hamrick.
Having that rest too, and letting them also build, just give them that time away to one, if they go take their own initiative, two, give them time to break, because recovery is huge whenever it comes to building alone. So that's awesome and great to hear. We have some great returners coming back. We have a 3-year letter. He'll be his 3rd year in DeAndre Stevens. He played as a freshman and a sophomore. You don't hear a lot about in Texas football. You don't hear about a lot of freshmen. Most of you get to 3, 4A, 5A, 6A. You don't hear about a lot of freshmen starting on varsity, being that guy. DeAndre Stevens, that guy. Give me a little insight about calling his plays and some of your favorite times you remember about Dre.
Well, I made some notes about some of the notable plays of this past season, and he stands out in several of them. And one is of course, they went over to Franklin, and he comes up. It's one play is there. The Lions have a long breakaway touchdown, and I think he got the stop. Might have been him, might have been somebody else. But then the very next play, he comes up with an interception. They get the ball at their own 4-yard line. The next play, the Tigers go 96 yards in the air for a touchdown to close the gap.
And you're talking
and
about
they just keep on fighting, and he made the plays happen.
Yeah, and that team, it went to state.
That was Franklin. It went to the state finals, exactly. And also in the Battle of the Bell, a game which, and this goes to my years of experience, both as color and as play-by-play. There's something about that game. Of course, it's it's the magical rivalry, and it's always packed, and all those that there's that sense about it, that magic about it. But also, in the past, there's so much tension in that game that sometimes I've seen the Tigers sometimes get kind of overwhelmed by that.
Right.
And so Coach Jeff Miller in his stint here, he was able to kind of turn that around a bit. And now we've seen the Tigers just come out and just fighting, and he was a big part of that when in the Battle of the Bell, the Yeoman try a reverse on the opening kickoff, they fumble it.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Stevens takes it up, takes it to the house. The momentum in that game is huge.
Right.
And that play early on, I mean, that set the table. It was
if you can get that jump, mostly in that rivalry, man, it don't matter who's what. Records don't count in that game.
That's right.
It don't matter who's what, and that game is always crazy. So to get that early pounce and jump, I mean, man, that's good.
And that's the thing. Momentum in that game, especially for the Tigers, is really crucial. And he made the play to make that happen, get the early momentum, and that was really huge.
Absolutely. DeAndre, I actually was watching his highlights right before I came up here. I saw him high point that interception against Franklin. I did see him return that kick for the touchdown, that fumble. And so I really look forward to seeing him this upcoming year. You also have AJ Sandoval and Zacoby Anderson. Sandoval's on defense, the defensive line. I don't know if they play Zacoby at defensive line. I just know they have him listed at 6'1", 290. I was able to coach Zacoby and I coached Dre and AJ Sandoval whenever they were younger,
Right.
and to see these kids grow. Talk to me about AJ Sandoval coming off the defensive line. I've seen him make some great plays, and I've watched Max Preps where I get a lot of my stuff. Tell me a little bit about AJ Sandoval and his burst off the end.
Well, he's just just kind of a disruptive force, and especially in that that 3-3 defensive look, having a really uh, disruptive defensive end is really key. And
Yeah.
he's he gets into the backfield and makes plays, and that's just really crucial for that defense.
Yeah, him and another guy that really impressed me was Eric Shepard. All right, Rockdale Tiger fans and Central Texas football fans, this is going to do it for us here on Heard It Here First. Before we go, there's some things I want to talk about when it comes to Rockdale football. I believe our offensive line is going to be pretty good. As I'm looking through some of this roster, some of the size, Clay Eschberger, Stephen Goodrich, Zacoby Anderson, and Graham Gay. All of these dudes are some big offensive linemen we're going to have for this Rockdale Tiger squad. So I believe Hunter Hamrick, and what I was saying, his creativity with the offense and what he's going to bring this year, we're going to see a lot out of this Rockdale offensive team, and defensively led by AJ Sandoval. Rockdale Tigers looking very promising. Do I think they can make the playoffs? You'll have to check out our very last episode for the projections of this district. So signing off right here for Heard It Here First. I'm your host Gerald Garza from here in Rockdale, Texas. Gerald Lyndon Garza Jr. behind the camera. He's the producer for this, so got to show him some love. He's the one who's been with me throughout this whole journey as we started this in the summer, and now we're ready to give it to y'all live, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, and check out the projections here on Heard It Here First.